go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call our meeting to order for the City of Erie Land Bank meeting for December 18th. And I'd like to start off by seeking approval of the consent agenda, or if there are any questions on that. Not going to get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting minutes from the meeting November 20th. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That takes us to our finance report.
Thank you. So first, you'll see the balance sheet that is showing in our accounts right now $142,259.70. On here, the properties were cleaned up from last board meeting, so there is nothing on there showing zero balance or negative balance. And then it is showing that our net income is negative $23,706.14. We did not have receipt of our last requisition payment before the end of November. So on the profit and loss, it's showing net income negative $2,038.49. And then on the back, Cynthia wanted me to tell you the back is crossed out because one of the pages accidentally got copied on that. So in its own separate packet is the check detail for November, just listing all of the checks that were dispersed.
Thank you, April. That payment request not having come in yet, that's still within the normal timeline.
Yep.
So, okay.
Yeah, the Erie County Land Bank moves their December meeting early in the month, so they, instead of being the fourth Wednesday, they move it up to the second, I believe it is, so.
I guess just one question. I never really looked at it before. I apologize. Is there any significance to the amount in our savings account? Is that amount allocated for something, or?
That is the historically the PFHA grant that we had.
Okay.
We're finally closing out a lot of the remaining part of that through some demolition activities.
Do we intend to keep the account open once that's completed, or?
I wouldn't see why we would close it and utilize it for any other grant funds that would come in that would need to be held
Okay,
separate.
great. Thank you.
Oh, Gene.
Any other questions or comments on the financials? Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that takes us to citizens to be heard. Anyone email in or anyone on Zoom?
No correspondence.
Okay, no one here presently, so we can move on. Report of the Executive Director, Aaron.
All right, this morning and moving back, we've gone over a lot of our properties, and we did receive on Friday the final order for 17 properties associated between the Redevelopment Authority and the Land Bank as far as acquisition. So we'll be able to move forward with that. A couple of them are on older work plans, so we'll be able to clear up some of those old properties and start demolition on it. I think this morning we met, I think we're at like 13 properties going to be going out for demolition. Again, a mix between the authority and the land bank, but get some of those ones moving forward. So hopefully working to have a cleaner work plan detail for you, trying to define it more onto one sheet as opposed to individual spreadsheets, so that you can just kind of see an overall picture of the properties within the land bank's portfolio and where they stand status-wise, whether they're available, pending sale, whatever the case will be, just so the board has that to rely on as far as information purposes. That is all I have for today.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing the new work plan. Thank you. comments on that? I think that'll take us to Gene's report. You going to cover that, Aaron?
Yeah, so Gene provided his report, December 2022 tax sales, 30-day period expired, a final judgment in favor of the land bank. 5/19/21. We on Thursday of this week, we have that property required off the judicial tax sale last year, where somebody had taken up residency in the property. I believe he is the former property owner, but he had no utilities on. He was essentially unauthorized occupancy. So through the year, we've been working to try to get him to vacate the property. Every time someone goes out, they assume that the property is vacant, but then it appears as if somebody is living there. So the sheriff's department will go on Thursday with us to enter the property, remove anybody that's there, and then we will secure it and take full possession of it. So that's going to happen Thursday. And then
Will there be resources there with, I mean, I'm just wondering if this person has nowhere else to go, are we going to have some resources available?
We've provided him many resources over the last year in every attempt we made to communicate with him, and he's just been unwilling to communicate back with us. So, I mean, we'll certainly point him in the right direction if he is there, but we've worked to try to get him out of this property because it's just unsafe and unsanitary at this point.
I guess I just imagine when push comes to shove, literally, right, and you have to go, I just want to make sure that we can assist at that time, directing him where he can go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does he know you're coming on Thursday?
Yes, the property's been posted, and that's kind of where the sheriff's department, when they posted the property, said it appears to be vacant. And Jake and I were there several months ago. We thought it was vacant, and then you kind of hear like a radio playing inside when you go up. So it's just a very weird situation. Whether someone's there, they're pretending like they're there, we don't really know.
Okay.
So, but we haven't entered the property because just for safety reasons. And then there's a list of some pending sales that we're working through. A lot of them are side lot transfers, and properties that we hope to get closed here in short order, to use one of Gene's phrases.
So what are on the pending sales back taxes? Just continue. He's waiting on something to be cleared up.
He's waiting on our
that?
resolution that is...
On the resolution today?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, any questions on the solicitor's report? If not, I think we can move on to unfinished business and new business.
God, the mics are up. All right. Welcome, Chuck.
So with the new business, we want to take a look at the operating budget, 2024. I think these are all the same numbers we've seen already, right?
Yeah. Thanks to Dario, we cleared up the issue with the 50/50 tax recapture, so we'll move forward with that in 2024. Other than that, yeah, there's no change from the last, when we reviewed it last week.
Okay. Any questions? Aaron, do you need us to approve all of these separately? Are we approving?
It's of the new business
Yeah.
line items? Yeah,
Okay.
Separately?
yes.
Yeah.
So I'll move to
Instead of
approve
a
the
slate.
budget.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Chuck, you need a minute to review?
No, it's the same as
Yeah.
we had last week, or earlier this week, yes, or last week.
All right, hearing that, and all in favor of the 2024 proposed budget?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, budget passes. It takes us to the property tax abatement resolution.
All right, so under our legislation for the land bank is eligible to discharge real estate taxes associated with the city and county. The school district requests that we send them the resolution once the board approves it, and they vote on theirs individually. So in front of you is a list of properties owned by the land bank, and it's more in an effort to kind of clean up some of the taxes that kind of fell in the area of which we acquired the property and didn't get the tax exemption filed, and there's still some taxes that reside on the property. So this kind of cleans those up and allows us to proceed with the sale of these properties, whether it be side lot in most cases or a developer agreement every once in a while. So the resolution's there for the board to approve the exoneration of the taxes listed on page 2, and then pass forward to the school district to exonerate the taxes listed on page 3.
Any comments or questions on the resolution? I think it's pretty straightforward. Hearing none, I seek a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve.
And a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of the property tax abatement resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, resolution passes.
So Aaron, just remind me then, so you said after resolution of this, the school district, we actually will approve these ourselves separately, correct?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they're here first, and then they'll
Yep.
be on our agenda, okay.
Yep, yeah,
Just for
school
my own
district
knowledge.
is, next
Okay.
online, so it'll be on the agenda.
Probably in January.
In January,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, 2023 judicial sale update.
All right, and so this doesn't require any action, it's just an update for the board. You'd approve the list of properties that we would put option agreements on. This is the final list from the tax sale. It's really our letter of equitable ownership so that we can start to enter the properties, evaluate the properties, and move forward and be prepared. Once that 6-month time frame has elapsed from the date of the sale that we can actually do something with these, we'll be fully prepared to move forward whichever way we deem as needed after our evaluation. So there's, I believe, 19 on the list. 3 of them are blighted properties. 2 of those, our West Bayfront has sent over contingent sales agreements on, or conduit sales agreements to purchase them from us for the cost in which we incur through the acquisition, which is the $1188 plus our legal fees. Those are 649 Downing Court and 427 Liberty Street. So, and we'll have a better idea of if they're salvageable or not once we are able to get inside the properties here.
Any indication of what their plan is?
The plan for those 2 properties, potential rehabilitation if they're salvageable, but that's, we're scheduled to go Thursday morning into those 2 properties to try to make that determination.
What's the significance of the asterisks
I was gonna ask
by
the same
those
question.
few
Those,
addresses?
that indicates blighted property.
Ah, okay, thank you.
So that's years ago, there was an issue with individuals purchasing blighted properties off the judicial tax sale list and not knowing it. So they started to indicate it to prevent that issue. But with the creation of the land bank, we've kind of mitigated that issue since we acquire blighted properties as a first priority.
With the exception of our West Bay Fund, is there any other developers kind of in the queue for any of these? Or do these look like ones that we'll have for a while?
There's nobody at this time that's interested in them. Any private developer that reaches out, we certainly inform them that once we make a determination on the outcome of the property, then it'll be put out to the public. So we only enter into conduit sales agreements with the neighborhood groups or those type of organizations.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Takes us to other business. Any other business?
I guess I'd just like to thank Aaron for the study session this week. Gosh, my weeks are all messed up.
I guess it was last week, yeah.
It was really helpful, just really good conversation, and always helpful, I think, for me as, fairly new to just get a little more information every time about how the budget works and everything. So thanks for your time, and I'm glad we did that. I think those are really helpful.
Right, yeah, and to that point, we had kind of discussed, Jake and I, and that we'd like to have a study session with the board maybe in January to talk about developer agreements and maybe some changes to that. Jake had a good idea, and I think we need to look at some of the language and stuff and just kind of get a feel for how the board thinks, that, because we're struggling still to get these properties across the finish line, and we've had a couple other issues that we're working through that individuals are really just not taking it seriously, to the fact that they're transferring properties without notifying us first. So, we want to try to get some mechanisms in place to maybe help that. We want these properties rehabilitated, and right now our success is about, I think, 3 out of 18 or 17, something like that. So.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I think those, this isn't the forum to have the brainstorming session.
No.
That is, and
Yeah.
so to second what Daria said, I think it was very helpful, and I think, even for those of us who've been involved since closer to the start, we're still new, right? All of us are still new, and we definitely need to continue to sharpen what we're doing. I think we're off to a great start. You guys have done tremendous work, but we certainly are still on that learning curve, and so I welcome those study sessions. And again, for the new members, those of us who have been here for a while, we're still really new at this, so thank you for taking that time. And I know it's a challenge to get all of our schedules lined up, but we'll find time.
So how many properties has the land bank effectively transferred, or?
Out of our ownership,
Yeah.
I don't have that number off the top of
Okay.
my head. I know in total, I believe we were at a little over 140 properties total that we've brought in, but
Okay.
I can certainly get that data together.
And I meant to send you in the Post-Gazette yesterday, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, there was an interesting article about their productivity, and I'm looking at their numbers and saying, I think Erie's beating them. I think we're doing much better than that. So I'll send you the article. It'd be kind of interesting to kind of compare Erie to a larger city, and maybe that's a news story as well. I hate to point out another community, but we can certainly announce the fact that you're kind of ramping up and doing some good work. We've talked about public relations several times, and maybe doing a news release of some sort. Unfortunately, you have to write your own news releases these days, and good to get them in, but that might be something of value, I think.
And I'd be interested in those numbers as well, Aaron. I'd also be interested, how many have we demolished, right? So what's been our total property kind of acquisition? How many of those have we demolished? I think that's an interesting number. And then how many have we put out for development? And I guess I would also add, I think it's a great idea to have that study session. I would love some case studies on that, right? So when you bring us the developer agreement, if you can say, here's a situation we've had, we don't have to talk addresses, but I'd love to hear, here's a situation where that agreement didn't work and here's why. It's always most helpful for me when I have concrete examples as to kind of where it failed, so that we can try to fix those gaps.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we definitely have some examples of really related to the issues we're having and how we need to look at these a little bit differently.
I want to add to your point, Chuck. I've had folks from other cities, larger cities, reach out to me, impressed with the volume that we've done for our size. So, yeah, I don't want to list other cities, but there are larger cities that have not done nearly as many. But then there are other cities that, are years ahead of us. So we're always in that learning curve. So again, I want to celebrate what we've done, but I want to stay hungry and keep pushing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been good so far. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, before we adjourn, I again just want to thank you all for your hard work throughout the year. I think it's been another good year. Just want to wish everybody out there happy holidays, stay safe, be well. Hopefully everybody gets a little bit of downtime and jump right into 2024 after that. So.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
that's it. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.